This state is the honor of my life, and it's infinitely more rewarding to serve with a wonderful First Lady by my side. But she cannot be here tonight. She wishes that she could. She is starting on the next stage of her journey. And we want to thank all of you in this chamber and all across this state who have reached out to us, who have prayed for us, and who have supported us, along with many Tennesseans who go through trial. It means the world to me and to Maria. So from the bottom of her heart, as she watches remotely, and mine, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She thanks you for that. 2 weeks ago, I took an oath to uphold and defend the constitutions of Tennessee and the United States of America. And as I said on Inauguration Day, this halfway point is a good time to reflect, but it's an even better time to plan. Because our state is leading the nation has great expectations for us. What will future generations say about Tennessee in the year 2023 and beyond? And as a seventh generation Tennessean, I often think about the role that our state and her people have played in the great turning points of American history. From the courage of the early settlers and abolitionists to the leaders of women's suffrage and the civil rights movement, Tennesseans have long served as a guiding light in our nation's moments of transformation. One of the best examples is a man from rural Tennessee who was drafted to serve this country in World War I. On October 8th of 1918, Alvin C. York stood behind enemy lines on the Western Front. And his platoon had suffered heavy casualties. In fact, there were only 7 men left with him, and they were outnumbered by hundreds of Germans. But Sergeant York took command of the 7 American soldiers and won the battle. That day, a rural Tennessean earned the Congressional Medal of Honor, and he returned home to Fentress County an American hero. Sergeant York stepped up to lead when our country was counting on him. And tonight, we are fortunate to be joined by his grandchildren, retired Colonel Gerald York, Deborah York, and Angie York. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Most of us know the story of Alvin C. York, but I mention it now to emphasize that Tennessee's success is no accident. Tennessee is America at its best because of the men and women who have made it that way. In 2019, I stood in this chamber and said, Tennessee can lead the nation. And tonight, standing on the shoulders of giants who came before us, I say with great pride that Tennessee is leading the nation, and the state of our beloved state is prosperous, hopeful, and unrivaled. Ford Motor Company could have picked any state in the country, but why did they choose to plant their roots in West Tennessee? In-N-Out Burger, iconic family-run company, of all the states they could have picked, their new hub and first footprint east of Texas is coming to the volunteer state. Why Tennessee? Because American people know a leading state when they see one. And that's why people and families and companies are moving here in record numbers. Our investments in public education and workforce development and safe schools, and our commitment to freedom and to families have all earned national recognition. And our commitment to this high quality of life doesn't stop at the borders of our big cities. In fact, it begins in the most rural areas of our state. And thanks to that commitment, the number of distressed counties in Tennessee has dropped from 15 to 10, and we are not done. And all of this has paid off in the form of thousands of new jobs and historic economic development, creating more opportunities for every Tennessean to have a better job, a better school for their kid, a safer neighborhood, a stronger family, and a brighter future. So to continue leading the nation, I'm proposing a legislative agenda and a budget that will focus on the fundamentals that put our state in this enviable position in the first place. Tennessee has a legacy of fiscal responsibility that has allowed our state's economy to flourish. The same cannot be said for every state in this country. Economic pressure is building, it's hitting the pocket of every American family. And at times like this, many states are forced to choose between raising taxes or creating debt, but not Tennessee. Decades of smart fiscal stewardship have enabled us not only to weather national storms, but do so while maintaining a healthy savings account and cutting taxes for Tennesseans. So this year, we're cutting taxes again. Last August, we gave Tennessee families a 1-month break from grocery taxes to provide relief amid the nationwide inflation. We should do that again this year, but let's extend it to 3 consecutive months. I'm also introducing the Tennessee Works Act to deliver more than $150 million in annual tax relief to small businesses and expand Tennessee's competitive edge for years to come. When companies want to relocate, one of the things they look at is a state that can guarantee stability. And Tennessee's Healthy Rainy Day Fund is one of our greatest strengths in that endeavor. The bottom line is it enables us to recruit more companies and create more jobs all across Tennessee. And that's why we're adding $250 million to the state's Rainy Day Fund this year. Before I move on regarding fiscal responsibility, for decades, it's the General Assembly in this state that has been committed to a balanced budget that also recognizes the priorities of Tennesseans. You should be commended for that. You should get credit for that, and I want to thank you for that. Thank you. In recent months, we have taken a closer look at transportation needs in this state, and I appreciate those of you who have engaged in the conversation thus far. It is time to invest in a transportation strategy for one of the fastest growing states in the country. We cannot solve this problem with debt or higher taxes, but we have to do something. Right now, there is a $26 billion backlog of projects across the state. Simply put, we are way behind. And we have to change the way we fund and build our roads and our bridges. We know that we have to tackle big urban projects, but if we don't change our strategy, we also know who will end up paying the price, our rural communities. And that's why I'm introducing the Transportation Modernization Act, a plan to engage public-private partnerships, to build additional choice lanes on urban highways, to ensure electric vehicle owners pay their share in maintaining our roads, and to provide a delivery model that builds rural and urban projects faster, all without the burden falling on Tennessee taxpayers. And hear me when I say this, toll roads are not on the table. We're talking about choice lanes, public-private partnerships, new delivery models, solutions that have worked for states all across the country, including our friends in Florida and Texas. In combination with this new strategy, we have to jumpstart the process because we are so far behind. We need to make a major initial investment just to begin to catch up. So to alleviate urban congestion in our major cities and widen rural interstates across the state, we are proposing an additional $3 billion to build roads in all 3 grand divisions of Tennessee. And with that, along with that, we're also proposing another $300 million into our local highway program so that local communities can build and maintain the roads that they need. And here's the bottom line. There is a great cost to doing nothing. We could easily kick the can down the road for 4 more years, but Tennesseans will pay the price for it. More potholes and longer commutes and less economic activity. We have an obligation to prepare our state for the future, and the time to do so is now. Our state's economic success can also be measured by a number of jobs created. 170,000 new jobs in just 4 years. And now our workforce pipeline must keep up. Pathways to success don't look the same for every Tennessean, and they shouldn't. For many, a certification from one of our Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology will open just the right doors. Since 2019, we have prioritized TCAT construction across this state so more Tennesseans can kickstart a great career close to home. And today, nearly 9 out of 10 graduates from a TCAT get a job in the field that they studied. So this year, I propose that we complete Tennessee's TCAT master plan. To do that, we will expand and improve 16 existing TCATs, replace 7 outdated facilities, and build 6 brand new TCATs at strategic locations all across our state. Our goal with that is to train 10,000 new skilled workers a year. To achieve this, we are proposing $1 billion in this budget, the largest investment in our technical colleges in state history. Meaningful work certainly does change lives, and we don't have to look very far to see the results. Tonight we're joined by Brad Bernard. Brad has lived in Morristown, Tennessee his whole life and worked at a local stamping factory for 33 years, but he wanted more out of his career. Brad was first introduced to TCAT Morristown in 2015 through an apprenticeship opportunity, and in 2021 he decided to enroll full-time and earn his diploma. Now at a young 54 years old, Brad's enjoying a second career as a programmer with McNeilus Steel Incorporated, a company that we recruited to Tennessee in 2019. This is why we invest in TCATs, and this is why we recruit great companies to Tennessee. Please join me in congratulating Brad Bernard on his success. Access to career and technical education can change the trajectory of someone's life, and we should expand those opportunities in our K-12 schools. Starting with the GIVE Act 4 years ago, we've worked to create more vocational and STEM programs in classrooms across the state, and as a result, dual enrollment for high school students has nearly doubled. You've heard me say we should change the way high school looks in Tennessee, and we're well on our way to making that a reality. Last year, we reformed the public school funding formula for the first time in 30 years and invested in a historic amount to fund Tennessee students based on their individual needs. This year, I'm proposing an additional investment of $350 million into the TISA formula, and that includes $125 million for teacher pay raises. When I came into office, the minimum pay for teachers was set at $35,000. We're proposing legislation that, if it passes, will increase the minimum teacher pay by the time I leave office to $50,000. And I'm glad y'all like that. I do too. I'm excited about that too. In just the last 6 months, there's hundreds of families that are living in underserved zip codes in our state that have had the opportunity to pick what they think is the best school for their child through our Education Savings Account program. Our ESA program is changing lives, and states across the country are following Tennessee's lead. I've always believed that we should strive to have the best public school system in the country and provide choices for parents. There are some who claim that you have to choose either or, but these two ideas are not in conflict. In fact, excelling in both is how we lead in education. I want to introduce you to some Tennesseans who are proof of that idea. Natalia Serrano, a fourth grader living here in Nashville, was struggling with reading and writing and rarely spoke in class. Her parents and her older sister could see that she was on a failing path. They thought if they could just get her into the right school with smaller classes, that she would have a chance. When we launched the ESA program, Natalia's family applied and were soon enrolled at Holy Rosary Academy. Just since last fall, Natalia has already jumped 3 reading levels. Her goals for this year are to read 30 minutes every day and to study hard for her weekly spelling test. She also joined the choir and a Bible study. Natalia found her voice, and every child in this state deserves to have access to a high-quality education. Please join me in welcoming Natalia Serrano and her family. We are so proud of you. Tennessee is blessed with incredible public school teachers and administrators. Just last month, Oak Haven High School in Memphis was in the national spotlight for their innovative use of phonics learning in English and math and science classes. And a few miles down the road, Dr. Vincent Hunter, principal at Whitehaven High School in South Memphis, is leading a school that continues to exceed expectations. Dr. Hunter, who is a Whitehaven graduate himself, serves a student body that is 99% African American. Under his leadership, the school has expanded dual enrollment, AP classes, foreign language courses. Whitehaven is just one of 3 high schools in the whole district with a graduation rate of 90% or higher. I had the honor of attending last year's spring graduation at Whitehaven. And let me tell you, I'm really encouraged about the future leaders of Memphis and our state when I go to a school like Whitehaven. You know, we have been in prayer, constant prayer, for the Nichols family since they tragically lost their son Tyree last month. Their courage, their compassion, and the compassion shown by the people of Memphis is a picture of hope. The graduates of Whitehaven High School, defying the odds and chasing their dreams, is a picture of hope. Memphis is an exceptional city, and I believe it has a bright future. And part of the reason that Memphis has such a bright future is because of people like my friend Vincent Hunter. So please join me in welcoming the principal of Whitehaven High School and his wife, Dr. Vincent Hunter. When it comes to learning loss, Tennessee has made great strides, but we have much that needs to be done. We know the worst thing that we can do for a child's success is to push them to the next level when they are simply not ready. 3rd grade reading has been the most important indicator for parents and teachers to see that a child is struggling before it's too late. As a parent, and hearing from educators across the state, I know that this can be one of the largest challenges during elementary school years. And that's why our budget this year will prioritize new literacy programs from tutoring to summer camps and give students multiple pathways to become a strong reader. The ability to read at grade level can determine a child's future. And our approach has to be about providing additional support so that every student is set up for success in the classroom and beyond. When it comes to education, funding and choices and literacy are all important, but none of that matters more than your child coming home from school safe every day. Since 2019, Tennessee has done a lot of work to strengthen school safety. We increased funding, we boosted mental health programs, we established a grant to place more than 200 school resource officers all across the state. Last year, I signed an executive order to engage parents and strengthen the relationship between schools and the local Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers who help watch over their communities. Every single person has a role to play in school safety. That's why we have a school safety toolkit for every parent. And we have the SafeTN app where any Tennessean can report suspicious activity. And this year we're doubling down. New legislation to enhance physical security in classrooms. We're also proposing funding to place at least one Homeland Security agent in each of our 95 counties. And here's why. A few months ago, a student at a high school in West Tennessee noticed something suspicious. The student reported their concern in the SafeTN app, bringing it to the attention of one of our Homeland Security agents in the region. The agent pursued the tip, and we have strong reason to believe that this prevented a real threat from becoming a real tragedy. Our review of the case showed that the SafeTN app worked as long as a Homeland Security agent is available to take the case. These agents specialize in preventing acts of violence and terrorism, and we should enhance their role in our school safety strategy. We have done a lot to make schools safer, but I do not want to look up months from now and think we should have done more. I intend to make this a priority in this budget and every year after this. We know that public safety doesn't stop there. Whether we are protecting against the influence of the Chinese Communist Party or the dangers of a drug crisis stemming from an open border, we must continue to have a voice in the national security when the safety of Tennesseans is at stake. And we will never stop investing in the safety of Tennesseans. Our $100 million Violent Crime Intervention Grant Fund is already being used by 80% of local law enforcement agencies all across the state. And I'm proposing that we invest another $50 million to keep that program going. We added 100 Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers in the budget last year. This year, we're adding 100 more troopers. And ahead of this budget, we worked with the General Assembly to create 25 new forensic lab positions to help the TBI reduce the turnaround time for test kits. And, yep. And we're also investing in district attorneys with additional funding for staff and a statewide system upgrade so they can take dangerous criminals to trial and ensure that justice is served. There was a significant shift in this country last year when it comes to protecting the lives of the unborn. And we now all have an opportunity, a moral obligation to support strong Tennessee families. Pro-life is much more than defending the lives of the unborn, and it's not a matter of politics. This is about human dignity. This is about human dignity. And we can have a healthy debate. Civility is not a weakness, by the way. It is a strength. Now, we can and should have a healthy debate about policy specifics, but we can all agree that America is rooted in a commitment to human dignity. And I'm talking about the dignity of the expecting working mother who's got multiple jobs to make ends meet, and the dignity of a baby born 3 months early, or a father living with a disability or family in crisis. Just a minute ago, I said we have an opportunity to support families and have some very important news for all of us to share tonight. 2 years ago, at the request of the General Assembly, we secured an historic TennCare Medicaid waiver agreement, the only federally approved waiver of its kind in the nation. Our waiver actually rewards a state for efficient, responsible management of taxpayer resources by awarding additional federal dollars known as shared savings to serve the most vulnerable. I want to thank our TennCare director, Stephen Smith, for his remarkable leadership in working with the federal government at your request to secure this waiver. And I've said all along, we would only move forward with this waiver if it was a good deal for Tennesseans. And tonight, I can share that we have claimed the first returns from this program, and not only did we get a good deal, we got a great deal. For the first year alone, Tennessee will receive more than $300 million of shared savings at no additional burden to Tennessee taxpayers. We've always believed in our strategy, but this result's a game changer. Now, in the last 4 years, we have extended postpartum care for mothers to 12 months. We provided support for thousands more Tennesseans who are living with disabilities. We've offered comprehensive dental benefits for TennCare recipients for the first time in the state's history. And now, with a pro-family landscape in the background, using just the savings from this first year, we will further strengthen postpartum coverage, providing services to over 5,000 more mothers, close the coverage gap for parents, and reach an additional 10,000 children, in total offering services to nearly 25,000 more women, children, and parents in need. In addition, Tennessee has the opportunity to ease one of the biggest financial burdens on mothers. We are going to propose covering the cost of diapers during the first 2 years of a baby's life for mothers on TennCare. If that is approved, Tennessee will be the first Medicaid program in the nation to implement this kind of support. That is pro-life and that is pro-family. And with continued responsible management of our TennCare program, we believe that this level of savings is possible for years to come. And as such, we will work together with the General Assembly to develop a vision for TennCare's future. We have the opportunity together to expand more services, reach more families in need, improve rural healthcare access all across our state. And despite enormous criticism for those who said we couldn't or wouldn't, we're going to do exactly what we said we would do when we pursued this shared savings waiver. Expand services for the most vulnerable and provide those services to even more Tennesseans, and now that day has come. In Tennessee, we also value the dignity of a foster child who longs for a loving home, the dignity of a mother who simply can't raise a child alone, or a couple whose prayers for a child have not yet been answered. Last fall, we began working anew with our partners in the General Assembly to address the growing challenges in serving at-risk children in Tennessee, and quite frankly, across the country. The needs of Tennessee children have evolved, and our approach to serving them must evolve too. We built a team at our Department of Children's Services that's ready to move forward and provide better services. Our new commissioner, Margie Quinn, brings decades of expertise working with the most vulnerable populations in our state, in her service with the TBI and with anti-human trafficking nonprofits. With Commissioner Quinn at the helm, we've already hired dozens of new qualified caseworkers. And DCS caseworkers have an incredibly difficult job, and they deserve our support. Last year, we provided 2 pay raises for caseworkers, and I intend to boost their pay again in this budget. And we are also proposing more than $190 million in additional resources to support the mission of DCS and provide for the safety and well-being of Tennessee children. There is a lot more work to be done, but I believe we have the right plan and the right team in place to get it done. And this is all a part of our broader strategy to support strong Tennessee families. And we have big goals. In 2021, we launched Tennessee Fosters Hope. And this year, I'm proposing a new $10 million grant program to support the mission of foster and adoption nonprofits all across our state. Last year, Tennessee's budget funded ultrasound machines at crisis pregnancy clinics all across the state. This year, I'm proposing a $100 million grant program to partner with nonprofits that serve mothers and fathers and families during a crisis pregnancy. With that, our Office of Faith-Based Initiatives has a unique ability and an important opportunity to engage nonprofits and community organizations. And I believe it's time to equip them with the resources they need to play a bigger role as we endeavor to better serve children and families. From strengthening DCS to expanding care for families, these challenges are not easy. But if we start from our commitment to human dignity, we will get it done. Strong families, in fact, are the building block of society in our communities, in our state, in our country. The love and support that fills a tight-knit home spreads outward, building up neighborhoods and churches and volunteer organizations and all of the other institutions that help bind us together. One way that we can support and strengthen families is by making it possible for parents to be there, worry-free, for every second of the first few months of life. If we can strengthen the bond between parents and children from the very first moments, we will have truly done something important. And that's why I'm proposing a common sense paid parental leave program for state employees who are growing their families. This is not a mandate on businesses. I believe every business owner should make decisions that are in the best interest of their employees. But our state workers are critical to Tennessee's success. That's why we increased the base pay for state employees last fall, and we intend to issue more raises this year. A reasonable paid leave program will help us retain the best and the brightest and help those who help our state, resulting in stronger families all across Tennessee. From Mountain City to Memphis, our state is blessed with beauty and natural, rich resources. As a kid growing up in this state, I remember going to Fall Creek Falls State Park with my family. Last year, Maria and I took our grandchildren and camped at Cumberland Mountain State Park. When our grandchildren are our age, I'd sure like them to visit state parks with their grandchildren. Our state parks are a jewel, and they'll only be around for the future if we invest in them today. Through the years, Tennessee has maintained responsible stewardship of our natural resources, but it's time to develop a conservation strategy that balances our state's economic growth with a plan to protect our environment. I believe that Tennessee's vision for conservation can start like this: the most accessible park system in the nation. Regardless of your zip code or your physical ability or your demographics, you and your family should be able to enjoy outdoor experiences close to home. So to achieve that, my budget proposal will improve and expand 3 additional state natural areas, build 2 new park lodges, complete 4 more outdoor trails, and create 4 new state parks. All across Tennessee, we have 175 former industrial sites called brownfields, where toxic waste has created the potential for an environmental hazard. And I believe we owe it to the people of Tennessee to clean this up. I'm proposing legislation to revitalize all 175 brownfields, to restore them environmentally, to prepare them for future use, and to make them safe for our great-grandchildren. This is the start of a conservation strategy, and we have much to do in the years to come. But if we really want to contribute to the future of America's environment, we should contribute to the advancement of clean energy. As Washington debates an agenda that overregulates or pushes the burden on everyday people, Tennessee is looking for real solutions through innovation. And we have a solution that's cheap and clean and reliable. No other state in the country comes close to Tennessee's legacy, resources, and potential to be a leader in nuclear energy. And there is no long-term national strategy that doesn't include nuclear energy. That's why tonight I'm proposing $50 million in a nuclear fast-track fund to recruit companies to our state that will specifically establish a nuclear development and manufacturing ecosystem built for the future of Tennessee. We cannot pass up this opportunity. Tennessee can and should be the leader in nuclear energy for America. As governor, I have the privilege of traveling all across the state and meeting Tennesseans from all walks of life. Last fall, I met a man in Crossville who just moved his family here all the way from New York. And he said to me, when I moved to Tennessee, I felt like I'd moved back to America. In many ways, our country is off track, but America's best days are not behind her. If the rest of the country can learn one thing from leading states like Tennessee, it's that when you trust your people, you'll succeed. The most elite, most educated people don't always know best. The everyday American people know best. And we have had crises in the last few years that have challenged that notion. But as long as we believe in we the people, our country will stay on this imperfect path to a more perfect union. Tennesseans have accomplished remarkable things in our 226-year history, and once again, we are being called to be a guiding light and to carry the spirit that took our state from frontier to front runner. And so as I look ahead to the next 4 years, with 4 very challenging yet fruitful years in the rear view, I can see that we have arrived at a pivotal point. You know, after winning the battle in 1918, Sergeant York and his 7 men marched back to American lines. York reported to his brigade commander. And in an effort to explain the unbelievable victory that he had just secured, York humbly said, "A higher power than man guided and watched over me." Perhaps the greatest lesson in Sergeant York's story is not found in the heroic actions on the battlefield, but in his incredible humility and in the way that he served after that when he returned home to rural Tennessee and relentlessly used his own success to make life better for future generations. As leaders, may we all be inspired to serve in that way. In my very first State of the State, I said, if we lead Tennessee well, Tennessee may well lead the nation. Tennessee is leading. The question is, will we lead in a way that lasts, in a way that our grandchildren are equipped and inspired to pick up where we left off? I believe that we can. And I look forward to pursuing that with all of you this year and 3 more years after that. May the Lord continue to pour out his favor and bless the people of the great state of Tennessee. Thank you. And good night.